Well, I bet you had some great or maybe even heated discussions around those three scenarios that were there because they weren't sort of plug and play situations. It wasn't.
You can go in and out. There's so many different roads you can go on those.
Yeah, there's no right answer. You know, you think of, you know, the person coming on, the 17-year-old comes home late. I mean, I've dealt with that. You know, what do you do? When is it time for tough love? When is it time to say, you know, what we really need to do here is give some grace, because he or she, depending on the situation, has been great in so many other areas, and this is kind of new, and maybe we use that kindness approach and kind of win them back. Or that situation where a pastor, you know, needs this transplant, and here's this person. Actually, that's from a true story. I have a friend who actually, in that situation, donated the kidney. That was the loving thing to do, felt prompted by God. He followed through with that. That wouldn't be everyone's answer. It's not the right answer. But for him and the situation and what he knew and how he heard God speak, it was the loving thing for him to do.
And in each one of these, it's amazing how each situation can play out a different answer.
Exactly.
Depending on, you know, not only the situation, but God moves in miraculous ways and how he demonstrates love.
What we were trying to do for you is to just keep that love-centeredness, make it, as Steve said when he taught before, your highest aim was love. And I think over time, whether you make a bad decision here or a bad decision there, it's not quite the right one, you know, history will judge that. But if your heart and attitude and the wisdom you bring is centered around love, I think those things will work out. So we've covered a lot of scripture, some tough situations. We kind of want to give you a few big hooks to hang this on, and it comes out of really one of the great commandments, the great commandment, great passage in the Bible, and that is that we want to, you know, love the Lord our God with heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love our neighbors or others as ourselves. So you think of that, it's really love God, love others, love self. And Steve and I want to unpack that a little bit for you and help you think in your community, you know, are we loving God? Are we loving others around us? Are we loving self, you know, in ways that would honor God and love the community that we're in? So we would say about loving God completely is the way I would say it. You know, heart, soul, mind, and strength, really giving our all to God. And one of the things we do in community is help each other in that walk with loving God. So we'll help you do that in just a few moments, but that's one area to focus on. Together as a group, are we learning to give our devotion and our love to God?
Another area is being able to look at, you know, what do you do with others? You know, how do you love others both in your group, in your church, and throughout the world? Part of what we want to say there is, you know, how do you love others compassionately, and how do you love the world courageously? I mean, a couple great scriptures that come out there is in 1 Peter 1:22. When you look at, you know, the compassion side, being able to say, love each other deeply from your heart. And as you guys spend time being a loving community, you'll find out you will do things that you didn't think were possible or you may not have done before. And then also when you're loving the world courageously, I mean, it's a very common scripture, but you look at John 3:16.
Yeah, 'cause that's
For
what
God
did.
so loved the world. He gave courageously. And we would want you to figure out, how do I go into that zone?
The reason we added that a little bit is the world is a complex and dangerous place sometimes, and it does take some courage to love. It takes courage to express love to people who are very poor, dealing with you know, serious diseases, AIDS, HIV, whatever, or to love across racial or ethnic boundaries. It takes some courage to say, okay, I'm going to take this risk to love.
And Jesus modeled that. You look at Matthew 8, and you know, he loved a centurion, which was not the popular thing to do. He loved a woman, which, you know, that was, you know,
Don't
women
even go near him if you're a rabbi.
But more importantly, like what you're talking about, he loved a leper. And that was the AIDS of that day.
So love God completely, love others compassionately, and of course the world courageously. And then the last part is self. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love self, we would say, correctly. There is a correct self-love, I think, that people get confused about. Some people go down the narcissism path. It's all about me, and that's not what self-love's supposed to be about. Others is, I'm so bad and terrible. It's all about shame. I could never love myself. How could God love me? And neither of those is healthy or biblical. There is a healthy self-love. Paul even, I think, referring to marriage one time, kind of said, you know, how we're supposed to treat our spouse, and said, you know what, treat them well, because you even treat your own body well, and you should take care of it. There's this sense of a healthy self-love. So we want you as a community to focus on those three areas of loving God, loving others and the world around, and loving self in healthy ways as a community.
So here's what we want you to do as a group. We want you to choose one of these areas that we just talked about. Now, when you choose your area, I want you to ask a couple questions. why was this one area meaningful for you? And how would you like to grow in this area more? So as we turn you back into your groups, look in your guides, look at the questions, and just kind of huddle up and discuss it.